Another week, another Raw update. Welcome back to Monday Diaries. So I'm still in Cape Town. A friend of mine has very generously offered her apartment for me to stay in for the back end of my trip. And like always, this is going to be raw, uncut. I am just going to talk about life and business and give you guys an update. So start with the business stuff. For those who are new here, I launched a private network for lifestyle founders. We just bring people together and I get to be selfishly in rooms with people that are smarter than me all day, every day. So it's a lot of fun, and obviously all of the members get that benefit. So it's an annual membership that's $4,000 a year right now. I think we're actually going to put the price up pretty soon because the feedback has been that is too low. And as a member, you get access to three things. It's essentially, other than obviously the people inside, but it's essentially online meets. So we pair people into smaller groups of similar stage founders, and we get in rooms together, and it's a facilitated call, and we talk about challenges as founders. We talk about we throw ideas around. We really it's like a group therapy kind of vibe. We also have an online community for everyone to connect and get immediate feedback. And we have co-living houses, which we run. I see a world where we get to like 100 a year or 200, 300 a year. But basically, they're like mini masterminds where you can live with other founders for 1 to 4 weeks, except the benefit of membership is that you get it at cost price. So it's like a mastermind without the cost of a mastermind, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm going to give you a quick update on Art of Mondays and then talk about what's been happening this week. So I've got some notes here so I don't miss anything. Basically, a lot of our focus this week, if you missed the last videos, I brought on a co-founder recently, and we've been deep in the weeds of just building systems and the back-end stuff. So things like setting up HubSpot and our entire sales pipeline, Notion, making sure that's usable and like our central spot for everything for the business. What else? Built a website on Framer. If anyone's built a website before, it's just a tedious, slow process, even if you start with templates and that sort of thing. So that's just taken a while. But more recently, my focus has been on putting out organic content through my socials, and tracking that process so I can share with you guys like how that's also progressing, how that's generating leads for the business. So I've been posting once a day on Reels and TikTok, and so far in the last 7 days of this recording, 1.2 million accounts have been reached. 19,000 people have visited my profile. I've gained about 1.5k followers. I actually gained more like 3,500 followers, but like 2,000 unfollowed in the same period. And I think it's worth talking about because most people don't realize, but once you start to build a bit of an audience and you are regularly putting content out, say it's every day, there's always going to be a portion of people that decide they no longer want to be keeping along with what you're sharing. And it's also good feedback for me because I need to shake up and probably show more personality and show more of myself, which I do on these videos on YouTube, but a lot less so on socials. So on social, it's a lot more like travel orientated videos and just fun, emotional, artsy stuff. So maybe people are feeling like they're just seeing it too often because I'm very consistent now. I'm posting every day. So that stopping that like follower loss is pretty important for me to maintain. And that's just trust. It's just people actually knowing who I am and trusting and wanting to follow along with my journey. So it's good feedback for me. But yeah, gained 1.5k in the last week, and 370 people clicked on the link in my bio, which links out to either YouTube or applying for Art of Mondays. And then there were 10 people that applied or started to apply. We can see the people that start putting their details and then fall off for whatever reason. Maybe they're actually not founders. They're just curious what the form's all about. But we had a few of those actually fully completed and qualified for membership. So those, the way our flow works is application comes in. It is highly vetted, so they have to pass a certain bar, like a certain set of requirements. If they that's like an automated system. If they pass that, basically we get pinged and we decide if we want to talk to this person, if we think they're a fit values wise, lifestyle wise, those sorts of things. And then we invite them to interview. So that's with me. Every interview's with me right now. And you could call it a sales call, but it's definitely not a sales call. It's just finding alignment is how I like to call it. And from there we then go back, I chat to Evan again, and then we decide if we actually want to bring them on. So it's quite an intensive process, and that's super intentional. Like I would rather have 3 people that are super aligned, tick every box from a values perspective, building cool shit, and just keep it at 3, than have like 20, 50, 100 people that aren't don't really care about it really. So that's why we do that. Yeah, that's the update on my social stuff. So, like I mentioned before, I'm still in Cape Town. I've had a lot of solo adventures this week. It was kind of a mix of like work and then trying to break it up and have some play in between. But we're just craving some alone time, I think. I had been living in a co-living house, which is nice because I still get my own space, but then there's some communal areas and you meet some cool people, and some of which are actually going to become members of Art of Mondays. So that's been really cool to network in that way, and just spend more time around people that are building cool shit and care about life. And that's where like the hiking and the stuff comes into it. It's a very lifestyle city, Cape Town. The ocean's like right there, the mountains are right there. There's a warmer sort of climate, so people are always out like at 6 a.m. There's heaps of people running, cycling, which is a really nice feeling. It reminds me a lot of Australia. So the Lion's Head sunset was unreal. I'm definitely going to do that again. It's kind of a nice hike, 45, 50 minutes up, and panoramic views of the entire city. So that was dope. And then I visited my great grandparents. Sorry, not grandparents. Great aunt and uncle, Jenny and Frank. I've never actually met them in my life. They're in the 80s. They're 80s. And that was like so fun. I went there for like 3.5 hours. They're in like a retirement home, but their home is like has the best garden out of everyone there. They really Frank loves birds, and so it was like a whole frenzy in their backyard. A lot of it was just vibrating. It was cool. But I caught up with them. We went to a winery. We had lunch for like 3 hours, and I asked them about like their love story, how they met, and they were just still full of life even at like late 80s. And they were very curious about me and my family and everything that's happening back home, because obviously we'd never met before, so they didn't really know that much about me despite being extended family. So that was cool. I gifted them one of the things I brought with me to Cape Town was a photo book autobiography of my granddad's life. He recently self-published a book, and he's always been a photographer at heart, and he spent a lot of time living through Africa. Like most of his life was living in Central Africa and documenting that journey. And so I brought a book over to give to Frank, is his brother. So that's the connection there. But it just kind of like reminded me of like how broad the world is and how much there is to do and see. Like Africa is like I barely scratched the surface. I was in Morocco last year, and now South Africa this year, but there's so much more to see, and I'd love to come back and retrace my family's steps. My granddad and gran used to build a lot of schools and hospitals through remote Africa, and a lot of it's in the book. So it's like I'd love to go and actually retrace their steps. Not this trip, but maybe another trip. I'll definitely be back to Cape Town at least once a year, and I think from here it'd be a good spot to go and do. But that was that. What else has been happening? I've had many days working, like I said, in that communal space at Neighbourgood, and then our friend Zoe, who actually lives in this apartment, which I'm crashing in. She runs a brand called Postcard Girls, and it's a bikini brand and a bunch of other products. And she had her first birthday like celebrations in this fat pad in the hills of Cape Town. I'll put some clips over this as we speak, but really cool, and lots of cool people too, like a lot of networking. And it kind of leads me to the main point I wanted to talk about in this video. It's going to be quite short, this video, so usually 15-20 minutes. This one might be more like 10. But this idea of like, I feel like here I find it a lot easier to meet people. And yeah, it's partly due to it being a transient place. A lot of people come here for summer and spend 3 months, so they're probably also wanting to meet people. But you just like going anywhere solo, you're just forced to put yourself into those environments, and just, you go to a cafe and you just spark up a conversation with the person next to you, whereas back home, you just don't. When you're comfortable in your environment, or you're with friends, and you just sort of keep to yourselves. And so it was just such a nice, gentle reminder of change. It's totally up to you. Like, you have the power to change everything in your life. And if that just means taking yourself away from where you live or home and putting yourself in a new situation by yourself, you make that decision, and then by default you meet a lot more people. All of the rest happens. So For me, it's been really nice. I'm an introvert at heart. I don't know if that comes across in these videos or not, but I recharge by being alone. If I had it my way, I probably wouldn't party. I wouldn't do anything else. I'd just chill and do my own thing. But it's nice to kind of be putting yourself in environments where you're forced to kind of go out and network and socialize. And yes, I've learned to communicate over the years, but yeah, I think there is a lot more socializing that happens, and a lot of great connections being made. And like I said, members coming on board as a result of it. Not that that was the primary goal. A lot of just really genuine, cool people that I get to spend time with, and sort of broaden my international network, couches I can crash on, and vice versa, people that can come hang out in Australia when the time is right. A lot of people think highly of Australia, but they always think about the East Coast, not the West Coast. So West is best. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, that was kind of the point around just put yourself in the right environments. Often that means going solo. And that's something I've believed since I was very young and did a lot of solo travel in my late teens. So that's it for this week. I'm going to drop, actually, next week's a fucking banger. There's lots of updates coming. We launched our first founder residency. So I'm not going to say where that is yet, but somewhere in Europe. We're going there with 10 other founders for 10 days. And actually before that, I'm going to be in Majorca for a month. With another founder house, which is like unofficial, but similar concept. So that's happening. I will see you guys very shortly. And if you want to see more about this journey and me documenting as we go, consider subscribing on YouTube, and I hope you start fucking with Mondays too.